What's the dumbest thing you did in your life? Long time ago, in this galaxy. I went to take a shower and left my towel in the sink. When I was done, instead of stepping out of the tub to reach for my towel, I decided to reach for it. The toilet was between me and the sink, so it was a pretty good stretch. I was slowly reaching for it, and right as my hand was over the sink, my feet slipped and my hand got caught on the sink. My feet were hovering on the edge of the tub and my weight dislocated my shoulder out of place. The curtain from the tub got ripped off and landed on me. I put my other hand on the toilet lid and pushed myself up, other hand still on the sink. As I came up, my hand on the sink dropped limp and the weight of my arm coming down popped my shoulder back in place. I checked to see if I could move my arm before the pain hit. As I sat there naked, wet, and in pain, I thought about shower safety. So yeah, dumbest thing I did was leave my towel in the sink. At age 22, bought my first starter house, making $13 an hour back in 2008. 750 square feet. Financially strapped. Needed washer and dryer. Couldn't afford new, so my wife and I found some on Craigslist in rural northern Idaho. We were young and excited and decided to go pick them up with my uncle's truck we borrowed. An old piece of crap truck. It was 8 p.m., but we left from Spokane, Washington for the washer and dryer anyway. We mapped it beforehand since we didn't have GPS cell phones back then. It was dark and stormy. Made it to highway in northern Idaho. The truck's lights began flickering on and off. Our first sign to go home, but I really wanted that $50 washer and dryer. Driving down the highway some more as the lights flickered, all of a sudden a giant bear/wolf was in the road. We hit it with the right side of the bumper as we slammed the brakes. Our second sign to go home. But we kept going. Then we finally found our turn heading up this gravel road up a hill with trees. Pitch black. No street lights. I see what we thought was the house we were supposed to pick up the washer/dryer. I pull in the driveway. Lights on the truck flickering. Out comes this naked kid with a rifle screaming, "What the fuck are you doing?" I rolled down the window and said, "I'm just here for the washer and dryer." Then the kid's mom ran out and pulled his gun down, and I yelled, "Sorry," and backed out of their driveway. We drove home. I haven't felt more dumb in my life. Risking my wife's life and my own for a cheap washer-dryer in northern Idaho in the middle of a stormy night. I got into a fucking car with a drunk driver. I was intoxicated myself, so I couldn't really gauge how intoxicated she was. She said she was fine, and I fully trusted it. We sat in the trunk, cause the car was full. Then she did the craziest turn. I literally was thrown around in the trunk of the van and knew she was way too drunk to drive. Me and my friends were under the impression that she was just going around the corner, but this bitch ended up on the highway. How? Don't ask me, cause to this day I don't even know how we ended up there. All I saw was the bridge and the water on my right, and I knew. I was hiding my fear, but my best friend could tell I was nervous. I was definitely not drunk enough for that and remember feeling like my life was in danger. She was speeding as well, being fucking reckless. I will never do that again. Next time I have to ask someone if they're okay to drive, I'm literally just gonna walk to the destination myself, cause fuck no. When I was 5 years old, my parents took the light bulb out of my bedroom light to use elsewhere as we had no replacement. I flicked my light switch on and off and found it funny that nothing happened because I was 5 and that was funny. But then I got worried that when my parents replaced the bulb, the switch might be on and it could harm them. So to check it was definitely off, I climbed up on my bed and stuck my finger in the socket. I even remember saying to myself, I might be small, but I'm not stupid. I got electrocuted. It felt like my finger was being bitten and gripped, but I pulled it out and was okay. I was shaken up, but didn't want to say anything in case I got in trouble, so I just sat at the top of the stairs for a bit. Then I realized I had wet myself, so not wanting to get in trouble for that, I told my mom that the cat had done a wee at the top of the stairs, and they punished the cat by holding her face in it. It was a new kitten, and apparently this was a way of training them not to urinate in the house. That poor cat looked so confused and I felt so guilty. I still do. Senior year high school, 30 plus years ago, I was a lab aide for a biology teacher. Not the one I had, but his class lab area shared the same space as the teacher I did have. Anyway, last day of senior class, he decided to leave me and the other biology teacher, leaving myself and the other teacher's lab aide alone. He was a junior. So after about 5 minutes of just sitting there, I had a bright idea and said, let's mix some stuff. So I grabbed 2 beakers, giving him one. We had our backs facing each other as we went through the cabinets, taking whatever we found and pouring it into the beaker. About halfway, filled the beaker started to resemble an oily-like surface. Had a purplish bronze color to it and the beaker was getting very warm. Then the other kid yelled and jumped back into me. The contents of his beaker had lifted out, almost hitting him. It landed on the linoleum floor. I immediately poured my beaker down the sink. We cleaned up the spill with paper towels. It definitely left a stain. Once we were done, I hightailed it out of there. Later, I realized, had any poisonous gas gotten into the ventilation system, it could have been really, really bad. Considering what could have happened, it probably the most dumbest thing I've ever done to date. Drove 4 hours for some pussy with a girl that I had some classes with my freshman year of college. She exferred to a college 4 hours away after that first semester. Got there, got some pussy, stayed the night, and then she vanished for the rest of the weekend basically. But that's not the stupidest part. The stupidest part was that I did it again 6 months later. I get to her apartment, and her roommate and her brother are there. I asked WTF is going on, I thought we were going to have some private time. She says it's no big deal, we have all of tomorrow to be together. Until then though, you can sleep on the couch. So I sleep on the couch, cause I'm tired from 4 hours of driving and it's late. She wakes me up in the morning, tells me she has to give her boyfriend a ride to the airport, but she'll be back soon. I went back to sleep thinking WTF. And then I was stupid enough to hang around for 6 hours waiting for her to come home. Spoiler, she never came home, and she went full ghost mode on answering calls/texts. Never heard from her again. My 19-year-old brain wasn't smart enough to comprehend exactly what was going on, I just knew I got played. Freshman year of college, this guy asked for my social media. I didn't have any, so I agreed to give him my number. I wanted friends, and so did he, so that was that. That night, he told me to come to his apartment. He lived alone, but I said no, because I didn't know him. I told him I don't go to people's homes until I've gotten to know them. I then suggested we go to a fast food place, which was public. He agreed and apologized for coming on too strong. He explained that, where he was from, Emirates, this was pretty common and people generally aren't afraid to go to someone's home. We talked for the rest of the week and he took me to a movie. He invited me to his place again and I said yes. At his place, he ordered a pizza and rented a movie. After the movie, he said he liked me, but I told him I wasn't dating. We talked some more, watched some videos, and I went home. So nothing bad happened that night. But, looking back 4 years later, me going to his apartment alone really wasn't smart. After hearing some stories on Reddit, I'm lucky he was normal and had no bad intentions. One major stupid thing my friend's husband did was drive home so drunk that he claims he doesn't know how he got from A to B, says he can't even recall getting in the car, but that he made it home safely to his knowledge. No idea how that's possible. I guess the brain/body works in weird ways sometimes, and he just somehow managed to get home. The issue is, he said he can recall what felt like running over something pretty large along the way. He was so in and out of it that it's the only thing he knows. He wasn't sure where, either. We never figured out what that may have been, if it actually happened, or anything. I always hoped it wasn't the worst. But he never got contacted about it, and none of us ever heard anything. It's been years now. He's always been really stupid and embarrassing tbh. But that took it to another level.